right, friends. I want our focus this week to be on the saints. We're also going to be thinking about people who have saint like qualities. One of the stories I want to share with you is Hidden Jews in the Warsaw Zoo. I know that you've read, some Holocaust stories this year. And this book series, a book by me, is made possible by a friend of mine. Her name is Deb Bowen, who finds people to tell other people's stories. So we know that there's a lot of stories from the Holocaust. We know that there are a lot of people that survived the Holocaust. And there's numerous stories. So there's lots of people out there with stories to tell. And one of the stories I have here tells a story about a person or a family rather that has saint-like qualities. So I will just start and I'll show you the pictures as we go along. So these stories are told by kids. They interview people who live these stories. And then they're illustrated by kids too. So they're a pretty cool thing. Antonia Zabinski was the zookeeper's wife at the Warsaw Zoo in Poland. Antonia loved taking care of the animals in the zoo, and also her son, Ryszard. Being a caretaker of the animals allowed the Zabinskis to study and be part of the animals' lives. Their daily activities were interrupted by the horrors of World War II. The Nazis, a group ruled by Adolf Hitler, invaded countries and hurt the Jews. Because they believed the Jews were not equal to them, the Nazis decided Jews should not exist anymore. When the Nazis invaded Poland, they took or destroyed many of the animals in the Warsaw Zoo. The Nazis then used the zoo as a pig farm and to house certain animals they thought they might want later. The Zabinskis thought the Jews were equal to everyone else, but the Nazis forced the Jews into Warsaw, into a town ghetto. Here the Nazis kept the Jews separate from the rest of the city's population. The Warsaw ghetto had horrible conditions for the Jews. They were crowded into small living areas, had very little food, medicine, clothing, or other items to keep them warm in winter or cool in the summer. Seeing this cruel treatment of the Jewish people, Antonia's husband, Jan Zabinski, joined the Polish Resistance, a group that worked secretly against the Nazis by sneaking Jews out of the Warsaw ghetto and finding them places to hide. Some Jews went to houses and churches, but the Zabinskis had an unusual hiding place. They used the Warsaw Zoo as a hiding place for Jews taken from the Warsaw ghetto. This is a story I never heard before. During the war, the Warsaw Zoo was a very busy place. When Jan started to bring the Jews to the zoo, Antonia would find them a place to stay, whether they hid in their villa, in the animal cages, or in an underground pathway that led from the villa to the animal cages. Over 300 Jews came to the zoo during the war. Antonia used a variety of methods to safely hide the Jewish guests at the Warsaw Zoo. She called the guests by animal names, and the animals in the zoo were called people names. In fact, Ryszard said at the time, "Mom, this house is totally crazy. You use animal names for people and people names for animals. I never know whether it's people or animals you're talking about." Picture their villa. Before the Jews could go into hiding in the animal cages, Antonia would dye their hair blonde with bleach. One family's hair turned red instead of blonde. Ryszard thought they looked like squirrels, so from that day forward, the family had the nickname of Squirrels while hiding at the Warsaw Zoo. She also dressed the guests in furs to hide them from the Nazis who came to the zoo. While working in the Warsaw Ghetto for the resistance, Jan was caught by a Nazi for helping Jews to escape and was sent to Germany to a prisoner of war camp. Antonia posted many notes and tried throughout the war to locate and contact Jan. With her husband gone, the care of the hidden Jews and Reisard was left up to Antonia. She often thought about Jan and where he was, but she knew she must carry